Okay, I'm going to talk really quickly about some strategies that I kind of want to use that collaborated with a dual language conference that I went to a couple weeks ago in Bloomington, and just kind of how all these things are kind of collaborating. And I was thinking, like, how am I going to actually make these things useful and apply the things that I've just learned, but then also from this class. And so I kind of found a lot of parallels. I'm going to talk just mainly about the copula, just some really good examples, but then I'm going to go through a little bit more. Um, so this was not mine. This was from the conference that we actually created on the spot. This was group oriented. As you see, like each section is color coordinated and shape coded together, kind of, especially if you have kids that are colorblind, that shape's going to be a nice correlation. But having those things to go back to and keeping those consistent. And that's something that like you could do with your co-teacher, with the building, with your team, which I thought was great. Also, they used a lot of doodles, which for our EL kids is really essential. And again, these were all made on the spot. None of this was like pre-planned. It's very student driven. It was all planned by us. This was not planned from before. And just very adaptable because this could be changed. So this adjective could be taken off. You could put a determiner in there. You could put an adverb in the beginning. You could, literally put a white piece of paper over something. You could add a lot more. So just kind of collaborating with what Dr. Verslati talked about, some of the reading. But so here's just kind of a simple example that I had for present tense. So again, having, just starting with pronouns, I would think, how am I going to start this? How am I going to get to here, or even more advanced? So I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do with my new learners? And I don't know if I would go through a lot of these things. I might call it a copula, or I'll probably just put the verb to be. I will probably go through pronouns very early on. And then we want that agreement because that's some of the simple output that we need to see from them. We need to see those simple sentences. We need to see them creating them, writing them, and that output is so hard. But when you're giving them these kind of scaffolds to go back to look at, to see these patterns consistently, I feel that you are going to see students thrive a lot more. I know when we were students and we did a lot of grammar-based dissection of sentences, that we did, the lines coming down and different things. And I don't see anything wrong with that, but I think that this is a lot more organized. And a student could literally just read it across or write it on a piece of paper and then add on something else. For this part, for this description, again, I don't know if, like at the beginning, I wouldn't go through noun phrases and adjective phrases and prepositional phrases. I would just let them do whatever description they would want to use, and then we can discuss things later. Again, then we're just adding the negative. That's a quick, you can ask them a question, they answer it like, I am not a boy, I am a girl. And, just getting them to do that output. And then, like, if we're going to have a question, and especially if we're using the copula, how would they make a question? And that they would move the verb, or this copula verb, and that we would move it. And then even just adding that question mark at the end, so that it's this constant reminder that we're doing a question. So I think that at some point you could get to something a lot more advanced. And I'm not saying that this is something that you would want to do right off the bat. This would be something maybe you do in the last term of the year. I work with older students, so some of my students that are have been working with English since kindergarten or earlier could probably do this in 5th and 6th grade. But let's say like we worked on one together and we said tomorrow, it auto adds the class may be taking a long trip to the zoo. So again, like, this is not something that I would do right away, but it could be something of how you dissect big sentence that they find. And again, I have an adverb for time, so maybe at that point we're working on time. Maybe not. Maybe we put an adjective at the beginning. Maybe there's no determiner. And discussing through with kids like how you can build onto this. I also really liked in this conference, just quickly to share it, was that then they kind of added it on into a poetry or songs, kind of like a Mad Lib, but they're still following those same colors that they had established, so that they could make poetry and they could make a song. And for our, our newer learners or any learner, really giving them that confidence to be able to create something, especially like poetry or a song, is really, I think, just a good building block for them long term.